This is a big deal. The fundamental building block dealing with climate change was the EPA finding that greenhouse gases were a form of pollution. Almost all of the U.S. government's regulatory actions to inhibit climate change have been born out of that finding, whether it's CAFE standards for vehicles or emission standards for factories, or the idea that we're going to create a mechanism to discourage the use of coal and build upon sustainable and regenerative power, on and on. And the Trump administration did away with this yesterday. And in many instances, U.S. corporations may or may not change what they're doing because of it, because most of them recognize that climate change is real and that the body politic does, and that this is going to get reversed. But it's going to be a field day for some places. And I will just note that, like, it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago when the right was saying, why should we do anything when China is such a problem? And within those 5 years, like, China has now overcome Ford in terms of producing EVs, and has seriously started to whittle down its emissions.
Yeah, to the extent that it may have peaked early.
Here is Stuart Varney and Doug Burgum excited about the prospect of drill, baby, drill.
According to the Wall Street Journal, President Trump is set to repeal the 2009 endangerment finding, which will end the regulation of greenhouse gases virtually. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum rejoins us this morning. Mr. Secretary, is this the last nail in the coffin for the Democrats' Green New Deal?
Stuart, this is fantastic news. Under President Trump's leadership and our great EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, this is historic. This is going to be the largest cutting of red tape ever by an administration. This is going to this endangerment finding was on top of it was a house of cards. This knocks over the whole thing. This has been since the Obama administration forward. There's been 20 years of cost placed on the American consumer, but it wasn't like they had a chance to vote on it. It wasn't like Congress had a chance to have a say. I mean, the cost of whether it was your automobile that you were driving or the gas heater that you were putting in your home, any of these things just raised the cost on American consumers without their choice. And then some states following suit and then banning consumer choice and saying it must be a certain type of product, that, like, it has to be electric, it can't be natural gas. All of these things driven by the endangerment finding. This is a huge, huge break for every American. This is part of President Trump making things affordable again in this country, and a policy of energy abundance and energy dominance. I mean, this is just a massive change.
First off, in the main, the U.S. consumer does not get to choose the prices, and it's really up to what is driving the most amount of profit at any point. What we also will lose is the capacity to assess the cost of these things. The cost of wildfires, the cost of flooding, the cost associated with extreme weather events, the cost associated with cancers and asthma and health. None of that is on the ledger. Or, you know, the future of the planet. None of that's on the ledger. This is the ultimate in borrowing against the future and looking at one side of the ledger. Now, so some things may be cheaper. If we didn't have regulations on, let's say, cars, I'm not even talking CAFE standards, but like that you need to have functioning brakes, you could probably get cheaper cars. Once I had a libertarian call in and say, like, they should have just kept selling the Ford Pinto and people would just get a cheaper car with the chance that occasionally it might blow up.
You might be the opening scene of Casino.
Right. I mean, it's just possible. Somebody bumps into the back of you and you just get the luck of the draw. But that's where we're at. Here is Donald Trump also bragging about this. This is an award. He's getting an award?
Yeah.
Yeah, the day after they announced this, he's getting an award as the undisputed champion of clean, beautiful coal.
Oh, yeah, here we go. The biggest question about this is, like, what coal magnate paid him $1 million?
Well, actually, I'll just go back to Burgum here, who people should know is a billionaire because he did a deal with Bill Gates, and he's a tech guy. So this coal stuff is not just for coal miners; it's actually for tech guys who want to burn coal to power their AI machines.
Play this.
Sir, to show our appreciation, the trophy says the undisputed champion of beautiful clean coal. Thank you, sir.
Trump touching the crotch of a different kind of miner.
Yeah. As if the reason why he's the undisputed champion of beautiful clean coal is because there's no one else vying for that title.
Yeah, ridiculous. Doesn't even employ.
There was a
right
winger who was on Albany radio years ago. I think he's on XM now, and he I can't remember what his name was. It had something to do with not man cow, but something like that. Andrew somebody, and his opening was the undisputed champion of the second wave of conservative talkers. I was like, okay. Here's Lee Zeldin, former New York politician, complete lunatic. He is now the EPA administrator. He does not believe in climate change. Again, this has nothing to do with the Green New Deal insofar as 17 years after this finding by the EPA to allow for mitigating the problems of climate change, we never had a Green New Deal. This is about essentially just being able to fight climate change. Here's Lee Zeldin.
You believe that the talk of climate change is a hoax?
When you're putting forth tens of billions of dollars to pay off your well-connected former Obama and Biden admin officials and Democratic donors, wasting taxpayer dollars, yeah, that's a problem. Trillions of dollars of regulation and costs on American families, that's a big problem. It has been a con job of using this for more power and control. For example, they push environmental justice. They appropriate $1, and rather than remediating an environmental issue with it, they want to spend $1 on an activist group to train other activists to come be activists and advocate in D.C. to get more money so that they could advocate. You try to wrap your head around the way the money's wasted.
These waters run deep. That's what I take from all this. Sir, thank you. You believe...
These waters run deep.
This glass does as well.
We're running a lot deeper soon.
Zeldin is a longtime climate change denier, and he sort of avoids saying it specifically there because he realizes how bad that sounds.
Burgum is a guy who says that carbon isn't a pollutant and also that we should invest in carbon capture technology. So these are all liars.
Yes. But that's where we're at. It's just put it on the list of things that are going to have to be reversed. And we were already 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years too late in terms of climate change. And this is not just going to inhibit our ability to mitigate climate change. This is going to inhibit our ability to adapt to climate change. So it's going to be a disaster, but like many of these things, it's going to be a disaster years out from when it happens. and in a way that our society seems incapable of drawing a direct line from and to. In a moment, we're going to be talking to David Dayen about some other horrors of the of the past week. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.